Makenzie Adams, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Amelia Baran, Master of Music, Music Education. Heidi Barber, Master of Library Science. Daniel Barnes, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Sherry Beckham, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Laura Bethia, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Chelsea Byer, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Gabrielle Bohinski Lamb, Master of Library Science. Christie Bolton, Master of Library Science. Bailey Bonds, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Rachel Breitinger, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Art Education. Jaren Buckson, Master of Library Science. Victoria Burgess, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Courtney Butler, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Hanna Byrnes, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Lisa Cagle, Master of Arts in Education, Middle Grades Education. Brian Campbell Miller, Master of Library Science. Haley Cannon, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Jordan Carpenter, Master of Arts in Education, Physical Education. Nikki Chalk, Master of Library Science. Adore Clark, Master of Library Science. Amy Klopper, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Cassidy Colbert, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Frances Cole, Master of Library Science. Aaron Costin, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Theater Arts Education. Rebecca Creech, Master of Library Science. Christy Crews, Master of Library Science. Audrey Curles, Master of School Administration. Nikia Davis, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Jamison DeLallo, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Maureen Faye Doculin, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Art Education. Caitlyn Dorfmeister, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Brenda Eason, Master of Arts in Education, Instructional Technology. Shannon Echols, Master of Arts in Education, Reading and Literacy Education. Jamie Eade, Master of Library Science. Ciera Eichberg, Master of Library Science. Karina Enriquez, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Carly Fowler, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Austin Goff, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Kelsey Gray, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Kristen Green, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Brittany Hadley, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Stephanie Hatfield, Master of Library Science. Christy Hines, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Virginia Honkamp, Master of Library Science. Tara Howlett, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Maritza James, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Candice Jasper, Master of Library Science. Jessica John, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Carson Jones, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. James Jones, Master of Science, Instructional Technology. LaDonya Jules, Master of Library Science. Julie Kamlad, Master of Library Science. Rachel Karwacki, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Art Education. Andrew Keller, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. John Knox, Master of Library Science. Gianna Lanciani, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Morgan Latham, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Brittany Laur, Master of Library Science. Hannah Lawson, Bachelor of Science, Science Education. Matthew Lottie, Master of Science, Instructional Technology. Christy Lumpkin, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Joseph Lynch, Master of Science, Instructional Technology. Catherine Mayers, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Lauryn Marrow, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Al MacArthur, Master of Arts in Education, Instructional Technology. Amanda McClellan, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Kathleen McNeill, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Sarah Marita, Master of Library Science. Alexie Messier, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Theater Arts Education. Lindsey Miller, Master of Library Science. Taylor Moore, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Jessica Morton, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Cynthia Mullinax, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Corey Nard, Bachelor of Music, Music Education. Kendall Neathery, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Catherine Nelson, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Haley Notino, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Norah Olaly, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Amanda Parker, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Patrick Parker, Master of Library Science. Lisa Payne, Master of Library Science. Fernanda Perry, Master of Art in Education, Adult Education. Lauren Papadinas, Master of Library Science. Brianna Pasta, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Quinicia Price, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Susan Price Cole, Master of Arts in Education, Reading and Literacy Education. Laura Purvis, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Casey Reeves, Master of Library Science. Gerald Reedy, Master of Arts in Education, Science Education. Amanda Robertson, Master of Library Science. Carolyn Rose, Bachelor of Science, Physical Education. Eileen Rosia, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Gordon Roy, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Nathan Saunders, Master of Library Science. Trevor Shute, Bachelor of Science, Physical Education. Claire Schaefer, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Jacob Shuey, Master of Library Science. Lawrence Simmons, Bachelor of Science, Physical Education. Rebecca Sloan, Master of Library Science. Logan Smith, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Tawanda Smith, Master of Library Science. Dominique Solis, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Art Education. Tyler Spots, Master of Library Science. Stacy Stanford, Doctor of Education, Educational Leadership. Alyssa Sullivan, Master of Library Science. Leanne Swenson, Doctorate of Education, Administration and Supervision. Melissa Taylor, Master of Library Science. Kimberly Terry, Master of Science, Instructional Technology. Daryl Thomas, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Josie Thompson, Master of Arts in Education, Science Education. Angel Truesdale, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Amaya Wall, Bachelor of Science, Physical Education. Jacia Waterfield, Master of Arts in Education, Elementary Education. Jaquacia Watford, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Carrie Watson, Master of Library Science. Jennifer Wickham, Master of Science, Instructional Technology. Ebony Williams, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Summer Williams, Bachelor of Science, Elementary Education. Jordan Williamson, Master of Arts in Education, Adult Education. Kenna Wilson, Doctorate of Education, Educational Leadership. Misty Yost, Master of Arts in Education, Elementary Education.